And spawn again now. My God. Out of 14. What? I need to run now. Is that gonna beat me too? Don't need to put that many boards on the windows, no. Let me actually formulate a boarding strategy. 1, 2, 3. If I want to put 4 on. Make things easier. I'm dead here. It's still spawning. And I need to kill that zombie because it was the barrier is gonna breach before. Nice nade by. That was really good. Bad angle. That was bad angle. Don't take my battery down. I hate how there's a delay and everything in this game. Why is there a delay there? Don't like that. No bomb. Fuck. I didn't think the range was gonna be that high. That was just such a waste. No, I just need a bomb. It was lost. There we go. First shot max. Beautiful. Good RNG, good movement. I'm actually just trying to force the lead for here. Oh, lead force. Or forced. Couldn't make up my mind on which one I should have shot. Yeah. No. Like someone first drop. Why did it backdash? I'm gonna get to lethal here. 5 also drop. 66% chance. Fuck it. Yeah, I wasn't on the money. The force was horrendous. Go. Go, 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 go. How the fuck did I get it there? I didn't even realize I'm wrong 14. Go. Oh my fucking goodness. Just die. Well, I'm gonna die this round. I don't like my boards. Use a nuke that didn't even do anything. The corner zombies are the worst. They're so clearly the worst ones to deal with. Uh-oh, uh-oh, uh-oh. Oh my goodness! That sucks. Okay, I need to stop turning my brain off when I see these drops. The nuke is not worth it. It's a fucking nuke, it's not an insta. Stop doing it. Oh shit. You need to die. You're insolent. Something about 15. I need to fix how I play 15. Oh, this is dead. Oh my god, I hate this game! Come on. The way they were just forming at the back there. And it was all my faults too. I hate how they pop like that. And I have to just account for it too. It's my responsibility. It's my drop. Times 2. Right. I was hoping it would kill some of these ones. drops. Full stout, wood. That bias for pathing on QR side, so annoying. That cart to back is so risky. There's a chair there that fucks it up. We are going to make it pass around turn. Oh my god, I hate that animation! It's so bad. It's clearly the worst one to deal with. When they jump out really quickly, it's really nice. Just get it done and over with. But that one was horrible. Right, what's my drop for today? I really wasn't expecting that. I can't even get past round 10 anymore. Get 20 yesterday. I'm getting worse at this game, so. Let's get that 23 every single day, or PB. Now I can't get past round 15. To be fair, because I'm buying QR later. Okay, so. Can't even run. No sprint. I need to kill them all at once. I'm gonna have to just board with the forward. Probably would have died if it was an older version of me though. Yeah, no idea, I just completely guessed. I know it's not that far to the end of the round. I just got all the zombies here. Fucking hell. That's really stupid. Get the fuck out the window. What the what the fuck? Still could die here. Don't play this correctly. Keep getting 2 drops at a time. I can kill it. Yeah, let's end it my run. Or not. I can't do anything there. I was forced into. I need to stop killing early now. Probably should actually just stop killing. It's actually fucking me up. I think that's what's actually really throwing me over. Times soon. Ah, you just the animation was bad. So I slowed. Oh my God. I really gave myself no contingency though. I just stopped playing like a crackhead. Stop nading anything other than these 2 windows. Yeah, consistent long term. Consistent, yes. Go. I just need to board until the 50s. Something I cannot do now. Good RNG. Fucking hell, I'm going insane. Double insta. I'm still. bomb. And got mags lost. Nope, one damaged. It's just so bad. What do I do when I see that? Like, fucking. Kill yourself. Kill.
The extra activities that need done in the department. So, we would do talks for school students who might be interested in coming to the university, and it would always be the women volunteering. We would have open days. There was a lot of stuff around called widening participation, which is something that I was quite passionate about, which was helping kids from underserved communities get into Russell Group universities. And again, it was majority women that would always volunteer for these roles. And this is common across the board. Maybe think about the last week and how much unpaid or invisible labour you personally undertook, labour that was uncompensated. I think it happens a lot in relationships.
Yes, that's true. I mean, I have to be careful because I'm partly being autistic, you tend not to. Things can get on top of you, if you like, and become, if there's more than one or two things to do, it becomes a bit overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
But my ex-partner who I live with most of the time, I have to be careful because she works very, very long hours and does what's what. So I need to try and make sure I do my fair share. I'm not busy more than my fair share of the domestic tasks, but it's very easy to not notice, if you like.
Yeah.
I was thinking of my cat, actually, but maybe that's not a good example. Another example from the other day, actually, is I'm part of a female founder community and found myself volunteering to host the accountability sessions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so common for women to volunteer for things, usually, because we want to help and we want to be communally focused. And what happens usually is that people accept that contribution without giving contribution back. And it's kind of well known that care, all types of care work, empathy, emotional support that happens kind of within houses and in society more broadly is not compensated. Our economic model is based on this idea of an independent man who goes to work and is uninfluenced by the world around him, and everything in the home is only related to the home. It's not compensated. And so I think especially women in relationships with men, there's evidence showing that they do substantially more labour even than like women that are single or in relationships with other women. And then if there's children involved, obviously it gets a lot more of a burden. We've downplayed and minimised the role of any type of care work, but also those emotional, relational skills in any organisation. They were typically called soft skills, but they're not soft at all. They're a really they're skills, and they're hard skills, and women are managing these constantly. And they go unrecognised. And I think in a matriarchal system, that isn't the case, because relationships are such a core part of the system, and to be in relationship with each other, you have to have these skills. They're reciprocal, they're caring, they're empathetic, and there's boundaries there, which I think is not something that women in particular have been taught to not have. We've been taught to give and give and give without consideration for ourselves and how full our own cup is. So that's definitely something that I've had to learn. I learned far too late, and would give and give because I could understand, you understand a person's problem, so you want to help and support and give, but then you just become kind of bereft in the process because it's unreciprocated. And a lot of the time, a lot of people don't even have those skills to be able to reciprocate. So sometimes it's intentional, people just want to take, but then other times people are maybe not doing it as selfishly, but they just don't have the skills. So that's something that I really think we can promote in society. So the next section is relationships. Patriarchy centers men and their needs and wants above all else. And I think that this manifests, especially for women who have been in relationships with men, that they become the center of the relationship. Everything kind of revolves around them. I mean, we also see it in more broader society in terms of who gets to be leaders, who gets to be leaders in organizations, leaders of countries. But I think for most of us, we are more affected by those that are in our immediate lives. So maybe it's partners, maybe it was fathers. I've posted some videos about thinking back to when you was a child, who got served food first, who got served the most food. Often it's the men in the family, and that's still the men. It's still happening now. And so one thing to think about patriarchy is centering women, centering yourself, centering other women, decentering men and their needs. Doesn't mean that we don't care about them, but it means that we don't center them anymore. I can share a couple of ways that I've started to do this, and the main ways are who am I listening to? Who am I learning from? Because all of the spiritual teachers, all of the health gurus, all of the productivity bros, this is who I had been learning from since my 20s, 30s. And it's just kind of really dawned on me, like, men's perspective and experiences have dominated life for so long. You see it in movies, in music, I think up until the 90s. If they had one woman musician on the radio, then that was their quota. So it's still, it's within our lifespan that it's been still so prominent. And so now when I make decisions, I'm trying to center to women and women's voices in everything that I'm doing. I don't know if you have examples in your own lives about how you might try to decenter men and center women in your relationships, either those closest to you or kind of at more of a distance.
I make a point of reading books by women as kind of micro-feminism ways to do it. I have most of my career spent working with or under or for men who were almost all white with very big egos, because it's a creative industry, it tends to be like that. Yeah. And in the past couple of years, I just really felt that I don't have time for this anymore. So I make time for helping out other women and choosing to work with them, which is it can be a bit of a problem with marketing in the UK because of the law. I've written about this, so I'm trying to navigate. I think that's all I've got at the moment.
That's
What's the problem with the UK law? What's one of the problems? So the actual problem is that people don't understand the law the same way, and Parliament actually calls the fact that smaller organisations, you talked about this earlier, soften how they speak to be more inclusive, and the law does allow you to build a business that is for single sex, but it has to be specific. So in my case, for example, as a brand strategist, don't know if I have lawful grounds, and if I market myself just for I work with women, I'm basically being unlawful. Yeah.
That's the issue. Yeah.
I must admit, from a personal point of view, I don't socialise a lot outside of social media, but the people I converse with on social media are practically all women, to be honest, because I don't, after a lifetime of experience, I don't really have a lot of time for men in general and their opinions.
It's time for men!
That varies so hard,
It's time for men.
Who are less conditioned, if you like, but women are far more likely to be intersectional activists. As I say, there are a few men who are very good as well. Certainly, probably more of them are perhaps we'd term ethnic minorities or global majority as well, which is probably relevant.
Yeah.
But it's women who are doing the work, as far as I can see, as far as activism, positive activism, to counteract the negative, which is coming from a lot of these male influencers who are pushing toxic masculinity or nothing more.
Yeah. That kind of channels into the next section, which is about kind of knowledge and expertise and whose voices gets to be heard, who's invited onto panels. You'll see in particular when it comes to economics, it's dominated by men. I still see manels even today, where most people know you're not supposed to do manels anymore, all male panels, but I still see them. Our economic systems in particular are very heavily male dominated.
Never heard of that term in my life. Manals.
You know, I'll post research online, and I'll, you know, I still kind of daily will be called a liar or delusional because men don't like this.
This is actually the truth. I bet they're gonna become womanals. Because men have been slacking on education. Complete bums and gamers. Of course, gamers cannot be bums. That's like we just sacrifice. Our labor is unrecognized. We actually have unrecognized labor. We actually have an unrecognized gamer labor problem. Actually, I just want it to be recognized. I don't want it to be paid. I'm perpetually out of strength.
Statistics that I'm sharing. I've seen other men, academics, professionals posting kind of similar content. I think they do get pushback, but they don't get anywhere near the level of scrutiny that women experts get. And it manifested, you know, in the US elections. I think Kamala, a lot of people didn't vote for it because they didn't like
Kamala.
You know, the level of scrutiny that women, particularly professional women, come under is at next level in comparison to men. Are there any ways that you haven't mentioned yet that you try to, or that you have influence on how you can promote or invite the expertise of women, you know, in the work that you're doing? I mean, from what you've said, it sounds like that you're already kind of doing that. Do you have anything you would like to add?
I want to recommend a book called The Authority Gap by Marie Anne Stighart. I think that's how you pronounce her name.
Oh, wow.
It really opened my eyes, not only to why women are not perceived as authoritative, but also to how deep and widespread this is. Because we are so, like, there's the patriarchy basically isolates and controls women, if they're putting an umbrella kind of tactic on top of it. And that makes you feel like, oh, there's a problem with you, oh, I'm really shy, I don't know how to talk, but this has all been constructed. So yeah, this book is very, very helpful.
If I actually had
and that
good
manifests really
drops.
early, even kind of from age 5, girls start to lose confidence in their voice, in their skills, in their selfhood. So we've got a lot of work to do.
And to say conversely, men are given more confidence, and it's misplaced most of the time. Whatever they say is all. So the people who end up in power are the people who confidently talk bullshit. And if you're a bit quieter and not a bit hesitant,
Oh my god! Oh my god!
then you're ridiculed. Oh, you know, you can't believe that person because they're not so forthright. So.
Yeah, absolutely. The amount of very mediocre men we have in power is very upsetting. So it's like we're almost out of time.
To be fair, this trust side too.
Safety, which is obviously a huge. It's what I've been talking about mostly. It's been in the news kind of constantly. We've been talking about the Rape Academy and various other ones like it, the chats, Epstein, and just the constant low-level threat that women are under whenever they leave the house, and you know, a lot of the times even when they're in the house if they have a male partner.
Low level.
I think it is. Yeah, it's not too much time to go into that. But what I have done is generated some little homework questions, if it's something that you want to think about kind of over the next few days on these different areas, and where you might be able to make slight micro changes to move things in the direction that you want to move them in. So do you have a pen? Able to make some notes? So the first one on deconditioning patriarchy is to do with the body. And if you could spend one day treating your body as yours alone, no performing, no perfecting, what would you do? What would that look like?
I feel like I want to answer it now.
Painting my nails, but I've already done that. Longer,
well, I hope after your next
but I've
meeting
already done that, and I always have.
Although then maybe it could be closer to bedtime anyway. Yeah. The second question or prompt is around your voice, and it's where can you begin to speak more directly, with no softening, no extra sorries, or no unnecessary sorries.
Oh, I already do that.
Unnecessary sorries. Number 3 is labour.
I'm sorry.
What's one thing you do invisibly that you could start to make visible?
Game on.
Whether this is in your home life or
Game
work.
on.
What are you doing?
Fucking hard work, right there. This is some hard work.
Well, you should really be compensated for it.
I should be compensated for this.
With women, they're actually.
I'm not asking, I'm
made to think
demanding.
That's how they should be, so they do tend to hide what they're doing. So the extent of what they're doing isn't, as you say, visible.
The fifth area is around knowledge and expertise, and it's where can you prioritize the knowledge of women or increase your belief in your own knowledge and expertise. And the last prompt is around safety, and it's what one thing that you could do to reclaim a space, even in a small way.
Do you mind giving an example of this one?
As you kind of mentioned before, you worked in a lot of male-dominated spaces. So, for example, it might be what's one small thing that you could do that in that male-dominated space, what's one small change that you could make either personally or getting kind of the wider organisation involved that's reclaiming that space for you personally or for women. So maybe it's like it's not an all-boys club, there's no, or it's discussions around like the language that's being used or who's included and who's excluded. Obviously that's kind of not an easy thing, that's not that's a bigger task rather than a smaller task, but maybe it's in your local community, and are there spaces that you feel safe walking alone around at night, and if not, is there maybe discussions you could have with your neighbours about how you might go about making it a safer space. But I don't want you to feel overwhelmed that you have to do these huge things, but just maybe think about spaces that you would like to feel safer or more inclusive, and what's one small thing that you could do. Yeah, and I'd love to hear how you get on, so feel free to let us know in the group chat on the community hub.
Oh my!
And I hope it goes well.
Fucking Chinese.
Chinese?
German. Nazi. Fucking Chinese. You're in the wrong language. I think it's because I'm reading the fucking characters on my screen. Fucking Zandan-nashi.
Look forward to
Even though that's
the next
Japanese,
meeting
and
to
I
chatting
just said
with
that in the
you
worst possible
chat.
accent.
See you
Zandan-nashi.
next time.
長押しでバリケードを作り直す. Yeah, nice fucking reading skills. Just rebuild the barriers. Rebuild the barriers. I'm gonna die this round. Toga. Oh yeah, it's super Oga. Oh, that hit. Oh! Okay, I keep dying there. I'm gonna stop doing that. I'm gonna stop holding that because this is so AIDS. I can't fathom. I can't fathom. Can't you even say? I don't even know how fathom is spelled. Gosh. You know what? I didn't know what I was doing, huh?
You are joining me. Just to kind of give you a little bit of background, you may have come across this already. I'm a psychologist by background. I've spent the past 13 years specialising in the science of violence and mental health and well-being. All of my research has been on interpersonal violence like bullying, intimate partner violence, teen dating violence, sexual violence, and how it really relates to mental health and well-being. So that's where I'm coming from. And I actually only came across this idea of matriarchy about 6 months ago, so it's actually really new to me. But as soon as I saw it, I knew that this is where we need to be heading because of everything that I know about gender bias, violence, mental health and well-being, and the fact is that we know harm people, and the fact is that we know help create healthy, flourishing humans. So that's really my angle, and I think what I want to bring to this conversation. You know, I don't want to claim that I'm an expert in matriarchy, but it really makes sense and is aligned with what I know about the psychology of what helps humans flourish. So that's kind of the angle that I'm taking with this. So today, there's a couple of things that I wanted to go over, just kind of a little welcome that we've done, why I think that matriarchy is
I need to fast run. I need to stop slowing down.
Aspect of matriarchy, and then some kind of action steps that you might be able to take in your own life, because I want to try and make it as practical as possible. Because it's all good and well knowing the theory and the research and the background, but you know, we all want things that we can kind of bring to our everyday life, so that's what I'm going to focus on as well. I'll give you a little bit of my kind of professional background. I have been thinking about this personally, and I think I'm actually almost like a poster child for what matriarchy looks like in practice as well, because my personal background is that my mom was 17 when she had me. She was single, you know, she was afraid, and my nan really took a leading role in helping to raise me. So we had 3 generations of the female line, the maternal line, and that's what a matriarchy is. In a lot of cases, it's 3 generations of the female line. Obviously, there are other family members involved. And it's protecting the development of the young people. You may have come across some of my videos on the grandmother hypothesis. We're going to come on to this in a moment. But grandmothers, particularly maternal grandmothers, play a huge role in helping keep children alive. And I think that that's, you know, obviously my mom did a good job to keep me alive, but, you know, my nan was playing a really big role in that as well. You know, she was an older, more mature woman. I mean, you know, she still only would have been in her, I think, 40s and 50s at the time. But that nourishment and that kind of protective extra kin support really benefits children and their well-being. So yeah, not only do I see the benefit of this from a professional perspective, but I really kind of am the product of the benefit of this kind of system in real life as well. So kind of putting it back to you guys now, do you have any experience of kind of matriarchy in your own lives, or when you first came across this term matriarchy, what was the kind of the first thing that came up for you? Because I know different people have very different reactions to the term matriarchy. Some of them are not always great, but yeah, I'd love to hear your kind of first instincts of what it means to you and maybe any experiences that you have.
So what really resonates with me is that putting the children at the center. And so like my husband would be a leader in patriarchy, I think, because he puts children at the center, you know, and the marginalized and the vulnerable and stuff. And I've just often been like, we are so backwards in how we don't make children the most important people in our society, because they're the future, they have the most potential, they're the most vulnerable, they don't have like the rights that adults have. So that's what really speaks to me is the and I just picture like this circle, like you said that, you know, I just picture the circle of all of us surrounding children and the kind of the communal care of children, putting them at the center. So that's what really appeals to me.
For me, matriarchy is about really valuing and honoring the wisdom that comes from women, and especially our older women who have passed from prime childbearing age into the menopausal time, and having that that womb of wisdom, that space to be able to hold the next generations instead of like that physical womb, that wisdom womb, and to honor women as we age, and to then use our wisdom to promote the growth of the next generations, instead of I'm older than you, therefore I know better, you need to listen to me. Right? That let me share this, let me nurture you, let me like hold you in this ancient way that we have forgotten for such a long time. That's what it brings up for me.
I'm just looking at matriarchy, what comes up first for me. I think I'm new to this game. I am just waking up very late in life to the reality we live in, but better late than never, and it's hitting me very strong in recent months and years, or the last year or two especially. Why it's important for me is in the light of the Epstein files and recent world affairs. That was just the final straw. It sort of confirmed my suspicions, but before that, to be honest, and I'm not, it's not that I'm not open to ideas, but I've just never encountered it. Nobody was talking about it. I've never read anything in any international, well-written journalism article. It's just not in, it just doesn't really exist. Like when someone says the word matriarchy, I think of elephants. So that's about the closest I, or at least that's my association with matriarchy. I mean, because I feel that's how far society is from matriarchy, or at least my experience of society. I just know that it can't continue as it is, and it's enlightening to see how everything is really connected, actually. We're living in, or I feel we're living in a society where the main structure is abuse of power, and that's what underlies everything. I think it's almost anonymous now, abuse of power and patriarchy. Of course, not always. There's always good human beings in every system, but I mean, I think we just have to look around. That's how I feel. That's the predominant vibe, just abuse of power, and it works itself out in every way. And I was thinking, like, how could anyone make a difference? How can you make change? And then I started trying to read more about what women were doing, and I found this account, and I started learning more about matriarchy and the concept of maybe this is one of the few ways forward, and I'm inclined to think that way, so I'm happy to be here. And that's what matriarchy means for me now at the beginning. I hope that I educate myself more and learn more, but that's it for now. Thanks.
Great. Well, I did say at the start of this session, I only came across this concept like 6 months ago, so you're even ahead of me. I just have the background kind of knowledge about violence, abuse, these systems going backwards 13 years, which is why I can see why this framework would be beneficial for us and what's not working in our current systems. But yeah, the term in itself is very new to me as well. So thanks for sharing your experiences. You've just kind of, hit the nail on the head. I think a lot of people are currently waking up to just how freaking awful things are. A lot of things that have been in the shadows for a long time are now coming to light, and people are really becoming aware of how corrupt, seemingly civilized countries' leaders are. My work on the science of violence consistently shows violence, abuse, it's so more common than people actually realize. 1 in 3 kids will be physically abused. 1 in 4 kids will be physically abused. 1 in 3 will experience emotional abuse. 30% of kids go to school and they're bullied. 10% of kids are bullied every single day when they go to school. 18% of girls and 8% of boys will experience sexual violence before the age of 18. These are huge numbers. And the other thing that people don't really realize is the lifelong effects that violence and abuse has on people's mental health, their physical health. It doubles the risk of mental health conditions like anxiety and depression. It's one of the major contributors to the burden of mental health problems that we see in society. It affects people on a biological level. It increases inflammation in the body. It accelerates biological aging. So these are huge effects, and most of it happens in the childhood period, childhood and adolescence. So we need to be doing everything that we can to be protecting these kids, which includes dismantling the systems that we currently have. I'll skip this current activity. I'm sure that you can all think of an example of where either yourself or somebody that you know was, because these are the things that we can start to think about now. Okay, what is missing from our current systems? What would a matriarchal system look like, and how can we kind of start to make those little steps in our own lives? So there's an anthropologist called Heidi Gardner-Abendroth, and I think she's one of the 4 leaders of this work on matriarchy. She's written several books on the top prize twice. And in some of her work, she gives kind of a description of the values, matriarchal values. And she describes them across 4 different domains: social domain, political domain, economic domain, and the cultural domain. So there's a little bit of an outline there. And also after this session, I mentioned, as part of your kind of subscription to the group, I'll give you access to my paid Substack so that you can have all of the articles that I'm writing. And I've just published one which is on the social psychology of matriarchy. And so I go into a lot more detail in there if you want to have a read. But today I want to focus on the social element, which is the social psychology element of matriarchy. So Heidi says that in the social element of matriarchies, they're non-hierarchical community-based. And there's 4 main domains: alloparenting, matrilineal descent, non-hierarchical, gender equitable relations, and cohesive communities. So I'm just going to run through each of the 4, share a little bit about why they're important, and get you to think about what you might kind of be able to think about in your own lives.
This game is whack.
Okay, has anybody heard of alloparenting before? No? Okay, so alloparenting is what I was kind of describing at the start of my own personal journey.
I'm playing until I get 20. I'll play all night. What the fuck? I haven't seen 20 in 2 days. I was getting 23 every day.
Aren't the biological parents. So often maternal grandmothers, fathers, grandparents, uncles. It can also include people as teachers, people that aren't directly related to the child. And that's what you see in matriarchal communities. It's an alloparenting model. When children do have high-quality alloparents in their lives, they are more protected. When children they're at the highest risk of abuse. So not all alloparents are created equal. As I mentioned, they need to be high quality, but they definitely have a benefit. And when you have a whole system that is currently set up, it's the norm for alloparents, it's the norm for adults to be involved in the care of the child. It's kind of one of the comments that I get on a lot of my videos, when advocating for matriarchy. Is people that don't have kids saying, well, what will the people that don't have kids do? And that kind of tells you a lot about their perspective, in itself. But I don't have children, but I know the value in taking care of children and why their care should be prioritised. But it's not only children, it's other vulnerable people, We need to be taking care of each other, and that's what an alloparenting or an allocare model does. So can you recognise any alloparents or alloparenting that you had when you were growing up, or ways in which you might be acting as an alloparent now in your current communities? If anybody wants to share, please do. Yep.
We lived rather far away from my grandparents when we were young. My parents moved to grandparents, and they helped raise us. They invited us to family functions, and I just remember it made sense to me that people who were not related to me could care for me and help look after me from a young age, and that women especially would fill those gaps naturally in my life. Like we had adopted grandparents and adopted aunts and adopted like everything. And I didn't have any sisters. I only had a brother, but I had friends who became like sisters. And now I see also coming at this as a polyamorous person, where we believe that all, like, especially if you're kind of like a relationship anarchist, where you believe that we don't need the hierarchy, like we can all care for each other, and having partners who don't have children, and I do have children, they have been integral in being caring adults in my children's life, but not holding a position that is like traditional. So they're not holding a parental position, but they are holding a position of importance in my children's lives. They are contributing on a regular basis to their upbringing. And my mother is very integral in my children's lives as well. She's not living with me, but she has always lived close to me, and she has always been there as a resource for my children and for me. They know they can pop into her house at any point. And I feel like that just always made sense to me, for my children to have that, and for them to have my friends who have chosen not to have children be there as these adults who they know they can rely on at any point in their life. And this is the benefit of being in a small town and having people in your life for a long time. But I feel like I've seen the benefits for my children. Like, they don't have to worry about who they can talk to. They know that they're surrounded by people who are there for them.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that. Anybody else want to say anything? You don't have to if you don't want to, just if you want to.
I would say that, honestly, listening to your story, I feel so envious because I didn't have that growing up. It was just my parents that lived in the same town as us. They both died when I was young, and then so we'd see them at holidays and stuff, but there was no really, communal care. And I don't have that for my kids, and it's something that is so missing in our lives. And I'm trying to bring that in. We live really far away from all of our family, but I try and be that for other moms. Like, I provide childcare, and I just think like my whole goal is always, how can I make this as easy as possible for this mom? What can I do to help her out so that she can work, and so she just doesn't have to worry about the care that her child receives with me. So that's kind of where I'm at. Just like, how can I support moms? Right now, my teenager has a friend who's been his friend since they were toddlers. She lives out of state. She came, and she's been staying with us for the week. We brought her down here every week for spring break. We just seem to be the house that the kids like to come to, and that was kind of always my goal, is like how to be like this place where kids know that they're loved and that they belong, and that that we're safe people. So I haven't had that, but I'm trying to create it, and maybe it will be when I'm the matriarch, when I'm the grandmother, that it really comes into a matriarchy. But that's kind of my goal. So thank you for sharing your story. That was really sweet.
Thank you for sharing as well. Sounds like you are being that safe person. 'Cause even when kids are in a vulnerable position, maybe they don't have parents that are caring for them as they should. Even just one safe adult can offer that buffer for a child in their long-term mental health and well-being. So, any little bit that you offer is valuable to the children, even if you don't see it or recognize it at the time, because they're too young to recognize it themselves.
Yeah, and I would say too, like I read about this on my Substack, just like how hard it was when I tried, like my husband and I tried to be everything for our kids and we didn't have a community. Like I suffered so much, and then of course we know mom's well-being directly impacts the kids' well-being. So my older kids suffered because my mental health was so poor.
Yeah, it's common when women, particularly mothers, are under-resourced, which is most mothers most of the time in this system. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sick order.
Okay, should we move on? Do you want to say anything? I'm sorry, I can't see the names. Grace, you good? Okay.
No, thanks. I'm okay on that one.
Great. So the first, that was alloparenting, and now we come on to matrilineal descent, which we've just kind of touched on this. And it's the idea that instead of what we currently have now, which is the patriarchal descent, names, titles are all passed through the male line. Women take on the names of their husbands. Some women are opting not to now, but it's still kind of the standard. Children take names of husbands. Up until about 50 years ago, in the Western context, women's financial status depended upon men. In many countries around the world, still, it's illegal for women to own or inherit land. So, I get pretty pissed off, to be honest, when men come in to my comment section and tell me that patriarchy doesn't exist, because there's so much evidence across multiple domains that we live in male-centric systems. So a matrilineal system is where not only names and titles, but resources get passed through the female line. And there's a benefit to this, because philosophers, even going back before this kind of modern understanding of matriarchy has kind of come about into the social domain, philosophers kind of acknowledged that men's control of property was a form of domination over women. Whereas a matrilineal system, it kind of embeds that protection and safety into the social network. As another little activity here, maybe you have experience of this in a household where the income would be the same, but if a man controls the income versus if a woman controls the income, or a father controls the income and a mother controls the income. Have you noticed any differences in kind of what gets spent on what? Anybody have any experience that they wanted to share?
Come on.
I came out of a pretty abusive marriage, and early on I noticed, like, I had been taught, and I was supposed to submit to him and listen to him. I was raised extremely religiously, so when we started out, I would just trust him and just like go, okay, well, he's thinking about the best thing for us as a family. And then he'd make these very selfish personal purchases without talking to me about it. He'd spend $2,000 on a computer when we couldn't afford rent, and I would be sitting there like, what is happening? Why do you do this? He must know better than I do. And it turned out that he basically bankrupted us and put us into debt. And at that point, I had to say, okay, I'm going to take over. And when I was running the finances, I made sure we had money for housing, groceries, my children's
I'm gonna smash something. What the fuck
like their activities. And if he had any access to that money, it would be, he would tell me that I shouldn't be buying shoes, I should buy cheap shoes, because then he has more money to spend on electronics. And it was just so self-centered. Everything that he was using the money towards was very self-focused. And when I was looking towards like what to do with our finances, the first thing I focused on was our family as a whole. And then like, yes, I have desires and needs as well, but I'm going to focus on our children being shod and clothed and safe first. Yeah. And I've seen that in so many of my friends' homes, and even in my own home growing up. When my mother was considering where to put money, it was always about supporting us as a family. When my father was considering money, it was about recreation.
Yeah, and this is, thank you for sharing that. This is what's borne out in the research as well in economic development studies. When they ask, what's going on? Where is the money being spent? Typically, the women are focused on the essentials for their children. It's family focused, whereas men are much more likely to spend it on gambling, alcohol, or what they call status goods. So think your computer example.
Ew.
Or it might be something like a flashy car, or it's all about.
Damn, she recognizes computer as a status good.
System, it's about who can
oh, she's a gamer. What the fuck?
When money and
that's
resources
complete status.
Women are no longer dependent on men and their choices, and they make better economic decisions that benefit the well-being of the families, of the wider communities. So there's lots of evidence that we have epidemiologically, economically, that support that a matrilineal descent framework, again, it's not just putting power into women, it's giving resources to women who then share them with their communities, their families. Okay, the third pillar of a matriarchy from a social aspect is this non-hierarchical gender equity. Across countries, that when countries are more equitable, more gender equitable, violence goes down, massively increase the risk of abuse and violence. And we see this at both the country level, so nations with higher inequality indexes report high rates of intimate partner violence, sexual violence, and you also see it in the neighborhood context as well. Some research on African American teenagers found that when they were living in an environment or a community where the gender ratio was more equitable, violence and aggression in the boys went down so that it was at the same level as what could be seen in the girls. So maybe you can think about the context that you're currently living in, or that you're currently experiencing, if you are in a workplace, or maybe if yours or your families. Can you spot where the hierarchies currently are? Like, who gets to decide, who gets to make the decisions, who gets to be believed, or their opinions not questioned, or their experiences not questioned? And can you think about one small tweak that you might be able to make to that hierarchy to make it more egalitarian in your life at the moment?
So
is anything kind of jumping out to you as like, oh yeah, you see there's a real inequality, or there's a big hierarchy there? Who does get the power? Who is making the decisions? And how can we start to challenge that, even not just like on a small basis? I think one of the things that can be a little bit overwhelming, and I think that's why that video that I created did so well and had like a lot of appeal to people about, how do we go from patriarchy to matriarchy, is because if we try to do it, we're like, oh, I don't know what to do, there's just so much. And I think if we can kind of focus it in on, okay, where do I have the capacity to make small changes in my own life and in my own communities? And we start to build our small matriarchal communities like around us, and then we form and get bigger. But I think that's the only thing we can do. We can start where we're currently at, and let the people that are around us. We don't all have the power to make these huge changes at the country level, at the community level, at the societal level. So I think that makes it feel more manageable, and like you do have more power and agency. It's like, okay, what can I do with the people around me?
What the fuck am I doing?
Okay, so
Grace, did you have something you want to say? I saw your hand up just a minute ago.
Oh, it was, I just thought of, couldn't think of one in terms of family, or I don't have a word, but health systems. For me, health systems are, at least I experience them as inherently patriarchal, especially with the emphasis hilariously on budgets and not on patients. The health system is supposed to help the people, and they're more concerned with health economics and budgets and allocation of resources than they are about helping any individual presenting person. My most recent experience is very enraging because it's specifically about women's matters. I have this thing called adenomyosis, this type of endometriosis, which takes a very long time to get diagnosed because you're not believed, because they won't do the necessary tests, because they're expensive, they don't want to test hormones. So I've gone through years and years of extreme pain, and also it seems I have a pain syndrome, but they won't believe me either. And I'm at the point, it's incredulous. I was trying to figure out, I said, eventually I thought, it's because I'm a woman. It took me a long time, and I was like, I think it is.
So it was a slow dawning on me. And in international medicine, there's lots of things you could do for this condition, but they may take a lot of tests and money and resources. So the country where I currently live, the first thing they offered me was a hysterectomy. Now, my jaw dropped on the floor. I happen to be lucky enough. I can read science and papers, and I have an academic background, so I wasn't uninformed. So I couldn't believe that a woman surgeon, a gynecologist, this was her first recommendation, and it just made me
Oh my god! What are you doing?
How internalized? Like most women I know actually have internalized misogyny. Most women I know have internalized patriarchy. They're actually, it's a bit like they're worse than the men themselves sometimes. To have a woman say this to me, and I raised some arguments like logically, but she looked at me like I had not even 10 heads, and I said, well, I proposed to her. I said, well, if a man had a pain problem that was coming from, let's say, his penis or his testicles, would your first solution be to chop it off? I said, because you're essentially asking me to remove a major part of my womanhood, my womb, without a second thought. And it's not even just that maybe they think it's not important because it's internal, but it is. It connects to your vagina. And
that sounds like Johnny Come.
It's not just that. It's also a major surgery, major. But I've never seen them offer to chop off a man's penis or balls.
Yeah.
Just even that mindset, it started me to think. I was like, and also they don't believe the level of pain, which is interesting because I've read data, men get help for pain much quicker than women.
Yep.
So anyway, that's my experience. And I was thinking, well, what can I actually do? I can't take on the health system, but I'm fighting every week, and I write off a print of data for the gynecologists and the various doctors I see to try and defend the position. But it feels like, Jesus, like as a woman, I have to defend every single thing. I have to go in arms like astrophysicist level of knowledge for everything I do in order to be taken seriously. But I don't know, I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure out ways to advocate, but it is sometimes it feels, I'm not just fighting one case, I'm fighting a system where the patriarchy and budgeting and not the welfare of a patient is at the center, which I think if it was a matriarchy, it would be, well, budgets would, instead of put into business and wars and roads, I would prefer to see money put into like healthcare. We're human beings, and sometimes it's just mind-blowing. Anyway, thank you, that was my little bit, but I'm going to think about it. Thanks.
Yeah, that's a really hard one. I have a lot of experience with medical misogyny as well, and I know how frustrating. I also have endometriosis, so I feel you. I know the struggle, and the sad thing is that difference, that gender difference in acknowledging pain, it begins in childhood. Research shows that even in little boys and girls, girls' pain is taken less seriously than boys' pain. So it starts extremely young and then just continues to get worse as we get older. So yeah, I'm sending you strength to fight that fight because I know it's not easy. So the crux of matriarchy is these large cohesive communities, and we have become so isolated, so hyper independent in the West. It's is in these small units, and
what do you mean in the West?
It's something that we've lost, and it's something that is hugely beneficial to human well-being. As I've mentioned, my research is on bullying, violence, aggression, and we know all about the risk factors for that, and we know about the protective factors. And one of the strongest protections against violence is having a strong social support network. And again, this is something that is built into the social fabric of matriarchies. The Masao in China is one of the largest matriarchal communities. They have both matrilineal descent, they're matrilocal, and
oh my!
Rape is basically unheard of in this community. In comparison to what we have in the West, which is rape culture and the normalization of sexual violence, which seems to be, unfortunately, getting worse in the current climate with the manosphere and the red pill pipeline that young boys are falling into. So.
Why is everything
we need people that are connected to each other, whether they're related or not. We need people having social support and supporting each other, because not only does it buffer against violence and trauma, even if those things do occur, it prevents the long-term ill effects of those things happening, like mental health problems, physical health problems. So, as we've just been talking about, what I want, or what I would love this to hopefully be as helpful to you as to integrate some of these things into your own life at the moment. So we've just gone over 4 pillars: alloparenting, matrilineal descent, large communities, and non-hierarchies, tackling hierarchies. So out of those 4 areas, is there anyone that feels most calling to you at the moment? Something that you feel like, actually, there's something I can do this week, take a little step along this path. Is there a pillar where it feels like, oh, this gap is huge right now, and I hear what you're saying about the medical stuff. That does feel those are not easy steps to take. But which part of your life might you be able to take a small step on one of those pillars? And do feel free to share that with us now if you want to name it, and you're saying, okay, this is what I can see in my life, and this is what I'm going to commit to this week, or the next 2 weeks. Yep.
I feel like alloparenting is somewhere that I've already been quite familiar with and have been building spaces for that. Matrilineal descent is something that I feel passionate about, but I feel like as a parent who doesn't have daughters, sometimes I get stuck there. So I get a little stuck in the idea of, well, I don't have a daughter to pass this to. And sometimes I can get almost sexist about that in my own mind, right? It's very interesting. So that's somewhere that I'm constantly rubbing up against and feeling out. But I feel like the place that I really felt excited about when we were talking about it is the owl parenting and the cohesive communities. Like those are the things that are really resonating for me. That feel like I can make small achievable steps in those spaces. The hierarchical inequity feels so huge. It feels really big, and it feels like something that we cannot affect in a short amount of time with a couple of small movements, right? It's a long-term thing. So what is a step I can take this week in that space? Where can I like work on my own hierarchical beliefs, right? Like where I just see myself as below someone, so therefore I don't have a right to speak, or I don't have an ability to affect change just by using my voice. I think we highly, especially as women, highly undervalue our voices because they have been undervalued for so long. So where can I even just teach myself I can speak up in this space? Like Grace was saying with healthcare, it feels like you're just drilling away this giant like stone wall with a tiny little pin. Right? Like it feels so difficult. But where can I do that in those hierarchical spaces, and what does that look like for me? I think that's what I want to. I don't know what the step would be, but that's what I want to focus on.
I think it sounds like you kind of nailed it about acknowledging that your voice is just as important as anybody else's. And I think you're right, as women in particular, we've been conditioned to distrust ourselves and our knowing and our feelings and our experiences, and to because the men know better, or we're told that our experiences are wrong or that we're lying, and so we come to distrust ourselves and we come to distrust our own voices. And I think that that's also been a huge kind of learning part in my own journey, is to trust myself, to acknowledge that my voice is just as important as anybody else's. So I think you kind of nailed it there. Yeah.
Thank you. Yeah, I think that really, that hits home. Thanks.
Anybody else want to share before we finish up? We've got 4 more minutes.
Of what that might look like. I have all these point. If that's what I'm thinking, I'm going to do this. Because, yes, right, exactly. But I like that idea of setting up a community check-in. And I'm just thinking about how I can not only check in on others and ask how they're doing, but allow others to, I don't know, help me, or
reciprocity, right?
Reciprocity. That's the thing that's always missing in my life, and yeah, that's tricky for me. The reciprocity. It's like I want it, but I don't know. It's like, have I not found the right people? Am I not allowing it to happen? Is there something about me where I'm just calling in people who need help? I don't know.
And you seem very, very competent, and sometimes when you're seen as the very competent person, people don't assume that you need help, which is often not true. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I hope that maybe you can find some people in your life that maybe you could have just those conversations with about it, reciprocity and helping each other rather than it being one way, which a lot of us can fall into.
And it seems like whenever I have those conversations, they just go away. The people just go away, and then my kids don't have their friends to hang out with because their mom is like, "I'm sorry, I can't be reciprocal. I work too much. I've got too much going on. I have too many problems." And so then my kids suffer because of that.
You're an idiot. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. You're an idiot. You're.
You have my kids, but it is often very one-sided. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm working with right now. And so what's so tricky for me is we parent in a very different way, like where it is very egalitarian, and our kids have autonomy and respect, and so many like authoritarian, and so it's just very different philosophies and ideas about child rearing. And so it's kind of like, well, how much do you want them to be part of your kids' lives? Where they're just and they think that we're like negligent, or we're not good parents because we're not strict, and we're not, it's not hierarchical. And so yeah, there's just a lot of things at play right now.
Not straightforward.
No, it's not. It's very tricky.
Can I also just ask, have you been able to see me through this presentation, or have I been hidden behind? You can see me?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we can see you.
Okay, good, because I can't see me, which is fine for me, but I didn't.
About some of the topics and what I can do. However, I did think, aside from advocating for my rights within a disadvantaged medical system, which I will continue to do, I was trying to think what small specific action can I perform this week. I was thinking possibly one of them is with the women in my life. I currently have 2 female friends, possibly the ones I see the most often, and I've been having difficulties because both of them have such high levels of internalized misogyny and love of the patriarchy that I find myself getting angrier and angrier with them. I may not say anything while I'm with them, but I don't want to be around them anymore, because anytime I raise something about the patriarchy, they start treating me like there's something wrong with me, as if like I'm an angry, mentally ill person or something. And I have to, I guess, go through this phase, sort of where I'm waking up, because I once myself was that. I was also someone who had internalized misogyny and patriarchy. I mean, the waking up process isn't, it took a lot longer than I hoped, so I'm trying to figure out now how to deal with myself when I was younger.
Are you
so I find myself very
joking?
angry and intolerant, which of course isn't ideal. So I've got some work to do there on trying to figure out ways to accommodate the change I've had in my life, becoming, I suppose, a feminist.
Nice spoons. This is This is the most GG I've ever seen. These just look super GG. No, that was smooth sailing. Smooth. You know? Max ammo. Detonated. You can't do that on Darius, can you? Ask him. Oh my god, oh my god. Oh my god! Why is this happening? Why can't I get to 20? It's round 15. End of the round. And you're fucking struggling. That's so AIDS. I can't stand it. How sloppy I've been playing. I can't even buy the M14. Get the fuck out of here. Jesus Christ. I just want to scream and cry and scream and cry. I have to fix the bar thing by moving side to side. Move thing, you know, fucking idiot. Was lost. I really do not like the M14. Should have kept the M1 carbine. Beautiful parking. Beautiful. This is so fucking boring. I'm standing around. Something. did I get it? I thought it would happen earlier, but since I got that far into it, I should have just... I need to stop taking silly risks. If I get hit once, don't go there. I'm just playing so badly. Yeah, I can't even get to 17. It's just round 17. Just get to the round 17. That's it. That's it. That's what you have to do. Buy the box now. Why is the box at 950? What the fuck? Smile. Fuck. No. Could have spawned in earlier, huh? Oh, no, you did spawn in early. It's just so far away. Awesome. Oh. This might be good. Very, very delayed. Oh, 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 oh. That hold up was cursed. I can't even strafe, bro. There we go. Oh, I didn't get the border. Why did you have to do the double fast animations? Both of them. Why did I do it? I needed that. I missed the board. Oh my. This is so frustrating. I can't even get to 15 consistently, let alone 17. That's it. That's what you need to do. Just get to. Give me. Oh my word. Just buy the ammo. Yo, I'm kidding that. I hate that animation too. You're dead. You're fucking dead. Let me ever fucking pull that animation ever again on me. Pussy. I have my plan. Fucking hell. There we go. Oh, it's still round 10. It's still round 10. And I'm just boarding up all the windows like a fucking crackhead. Yeah, cunt. Dublin still. No bueno. Times 2. Oh my god. This game, oh my god. I hate it. It's so bad. It's so bad. It's beyond the pale. It really is beyond the pale. I shouldn't have done that because there was no need to go tied to that, but oh my word. This is so bad. I don't know what to do. I have no idea what I've been doing wrong. What do I do? I actually need to do a VOD review of my previous gameplay because I was getting really consistent at the early rounds. I'm not stopping playing until I can. This is insane. This is actually insanely bad. Oh my. The slow boarding is the worst part about this. 5-5? Come on. This is insane. Why would you do this to me? Oh, my fast forward's back. I might have to go to the World at War version. I wonder how much more AIDS that would be for this, you know, beautiful, consistent BL1 version. I'm not getting any kills. I only have 1 kill. No, Torino. 6. Seven. I just 7 kills. Nice string. Here, can't. What the fuck am I looking at? An amalgam of nonsense. Just die. Oh my. Whoops. I need to do that. Yeah, that's the cycle. Turn around. That wasn't going to turn around, but I didn't want to. Two there. There are two there. Need to run now. No! Oh my god, I hate this game! Why did I get bad RNG? That was a 50-50. Oh. Why could I just not get the nice fast down in? You know? I'm starving myself of everything until I get this 20. Just a 20, please. Just a 20. This 20 drought is killing me. What's my drop gonna be? Nah. Nothing. I was so tempted to just strafe. It is so tempting to play suicidal when you're playing badly. You want to just play more badly. You just want to talk to yourself like you're an insane person. One, two, three, four, five. 2, 3, 4, 5. Why'd I go for 5 when I needed 6? Beautiful. Oh, no, 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 no. Plus 60, nice. What is the difference between a plus 50 and a plus 60? I know plus 70, 100, 130. I don't know plus 60. Yee, boy. Was lost. Beautiful. What the fuck is happening? Yeehaw. Oh, I feel like I'm gonna die. Oh, got the horde. Oh, oh, it's akin to crack. Every horde you get now, it's akin to crack. You, as if I'm, you know, speaking to somebody, not being insane. Yes. Beautiful. 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 Beautiful pathing. Some actually godlike. One more round. One more round and then you're allowed QR. One more round. Say it again. Can we repeat that? One more round. Round 16. My hand actually hurts from the way I've been holding my mouse too. Angrily gripped. Fuck out. That was godlike! Yeah, that's how you do it. Oh, that's how you do it. Round 16. Woo! If I died there, I probably screamed. Oh. Ay, ay, ay. Oh, I'm so happy. Oh, I'm so happy. The game is just functioning and working and good RNG. 262 are the kills. Oh god. Give me a drop now. That was imperative for me. Aye. Let this be the run. Let this be the run. Give me everything that I need. RNG. When RNG is on my side. And those are the last seconds I don't want to do. What the fuck? Oh. Yeah. Let me move my head. That was horrible. This game is so pathetic and it's so transparent that it just does not function properly. How could that ever survive first contact? Oh, yo, yo. You just die. Trying to play the game. What did you spawn solo? Good game! Round 20! One down, pathetic, I know, but... I mean, at this rate, I'm just gonna take it. This is a joke, right? Give me that! I'm not even gonna take full nukes anymore. They're so clearly problematic. Oh, shit, mom. cancer. I don't have the good grasp. I don't have the good grasp. I don't have a good grasp on the horde. Alright. Did anyone die? Beautiful gameplay again. Whew. Yeah. 89. I'm playing with fire doing this. You know what? Fuck it. Don't play like that. Don't double hits. No! That didn't need to happen. Why did that happen? That needs to be... No! What the fuck? I got the 20. What happened? That's what I don't understand. Why did I get that hit? That first hit felt really strange. Oh, goodness. That was so weird. That hold up was really fucked. I think they may have got stuck in that window. The first hold up, not this hold up, but that first hold up felt really fucked. That felt really fucked. I don't know how they just didn't. Yeah, very, very strange. I'm not a fan of that. But I got the 20. It was actually a 22 and I only took 2 downs.